Welcome to Item Breakdown, a series where I analyze every single item in Mario Maker 2, go over their properties, and find interesting ways to use them in our own levels. This video is all about the Skip Squeak.
Oh, shit! Alright!
The Skip Squeak is an enemy exclusive to the 3D World game style. A Skip Squeak will run in place without ever moving left or right, even if placed on a conveyor belt. It will jump up around 2.5 tiles high whenever Mario jumps. A Skip Squeak that is moved from its original horizontal position will attempt to return, running and jumping to achieve this. If it determines that it is unable to return to where it spawned, it will give up and become stationary again. Poor guy. A Skip Squeak can be defeated by any of Mario's attacks, such as a jump, ground pound, slide, fireball, scratch, dive, hammer, and the superstar power-up. It is also defeated by a shell, a bob-omb or a pow block explosion, being crushed, the block underneath it being hit, and by a Koopa Troopa car. A Skip Squeak has 4 variants: spiny, giant, winged, and parachuting. A spiny Skip Squeak functions exactly the same as a normal Skip Squeak, but cannot be jumped on and will damage Mario on contact. A giant Skip Squeak will jump 3 tiles high whenever Mario jumps, and can activate P-switches when touching them. A winged Skip Squeak doesn't jump when Mario jumps and instead jumps every few seconds. However, it struggles to jump more than 1 tile above the ground. That is, unless it was placed higher than 1 tile above the ground initially. Then it will jump to its original position, up to 10 tiles high, and hover in place for a moment. A parachuting Skip Squeak descends slowly toward the bottom of the screen, and resumes its basic behavior when it lands. A Skip Squeak that bounces on a spring or mushroom trampoline bounces double their normal jump height. A winged Skip Squeak bounces 2.5 times their normal jump height. A Skip Squeak can be placed inside of blocks, bullet bill blasters, and pipes. It cannot enter a clear pipe unless it is bounced into it by a spring, or if it's attempting to return to its original position. A Skip Squeak submerged in water will have increased hang time while in the air, but their jump height is not increased. A Skip Squeak submerged in lava is defeated. So, now that we know how it works, how do we work with it? These little rat mice things are actually pretty useful, and I was excited to play around with them as soon as they were announced. An enemy that stays in one place and only jumps when the player jumps seems great at first glance. However, there are certain situations where the player is able to jump without triggering a Skip Squeak, potentially breaking any puzzles we create. This happens if a player jumps immediately after a roll, when walking off of a ledge, when landing, immediately after swinging a hammer, and immediately after exiting a pipe or door. This isn't a comprehensive list either, this is just what I could replicate. So keep this in mind when using Skip Squeaks in your own levels. While the vast majority of the player base probably won't take advantage of this, there will be a handful of players that do. If that doesn't deter you though, here are some good uses for this vermin. Certainly, the Skip Squeak surpasses standards in puzzle stages. We can create some interesting don't jump mechanics without using a clear condition. Here I have a giant Skip Squeak placed under a P-switch, meaning that whenever the player jumps, the P-switch is activated. Whenever a P-switch is activated, the player is given a key, and if the player reaches the exit of this room with a key, well, they're gonna have a bad time. This contraption also can work off-screen, so the entire space can be dedicated to the puzzle. Skip Squeaks can also be used to trap and release items. For instance, in this setup, the player has to time their jumps so that a mushroom can make it all the way through this obstacle course. How about hopping our way into a traditional level now? Skip Squeaks pose a unique challenge given that they stay in one place for the most part, even when on conveyor belts. This can be used in a wide variety of challenges. For instance, in this section, the player must first figure out how to switch the conveyor belt's direction, and then slide up it to get past these spiny Skip Squeaks. And once again, I have to mention their potential when it comes to troll levels. There's just something about seeing an enemy that typically stands still run towards you with such determination that is both terrifying and hilarious. All we have to do to achieve this is take a Skipsqueak and force it out of its home. It's like gentrification, but in Mario Maker. And there are plenty more uses for this rascally rodent. If you're looking for more inspiration, check out another one of these item breakdowns, and you can help pick which item I do next by becoming a patron or a YouTube member. See you in the next one.